You want to do something, but you don't know where to go. The options are endless, but keep you paralyzed. When others have already achieved a dream outcome that you want, only for you to look in the bathroom mirror and wonder where the time went. This was my reality, and I'm no different, and I still experience this stuff from a day to day basis. But I want to tell you about a story that I had for myself when I was younger. When I was younger, I had very bad acne, and I might show a few images of this, but this was making me very self conscious, and I frankly hated it. And anyone who had experienced acne of any kind knows that it's bad. This kicked my self confidence, and when I was growing up, things felt very difficult. At the same time, there was plenty of stuff going online, people telling you to improve in all these different areas, and it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming because there's only so much you can do as a person on a day to day basis. And if you consume tons of content that tells you you should be working on your health, your money, your relationships, your spirituality, and all these other skills all at the same time, to someone who has not really done any of that, it can feel overbearing. So, what I did is when I had the acne, I realized there were only two things I could be doing. One is that I could sit there and complain and do nothing, or two, I could try and fix what I could fix, which was going to the gym. It was looking better and focusing on what I could control to look better. Now, eventually, I did end up getting on medication for my acne, but that took about a year to clear my acne entirely. But before I actually got on the medication, I went to the gym. I went to the gym with my older brother and started training, and just in the hopes that I could look better and I could feel better. And what was really interesting with this transformation is I got into the gym or into fitness when lockdown started. And what was interesting is after those first 6 months, when it hit more so just like September time and we got back into school, for me, this was sixth form. Most of the people who went to my sixth form were in my school. So they had seen me, what I was like when I was skinnier and I had tons of acne. And when I got back into sixth form, I was approached and complimented by quite a few people, by quite a few friends I knew. And I noticed that people around me treated me with more respect. They gave me more attention. They listened more. Not to say that people disrespected me by any means, but I noticed that with the one commitment that I made to just improving my health and focusing on what I could control, that had shaped my life in a much better way. It had allowed me to see the results of my actions and the sacrifice that had paid off. Now, the point of this is that if you feel paralyzed with what you should improve on, focus on one thing first, or shift your priorities more so to one thing. And everyone has different difficulties. Everyone has different things that they struggle with. For me, I have no issue with alcohol or drugs. Why? Because I've done neither of them. Never done drugs before, never drunk a sip of alcohol in my life. There was probably alcohol in some bit of food, but other than that, I've never drunk alcohol before. Meaning I'm never going to have an issue with that unless I decide to drink alcohol, which I don't. However, for other people, it's different. And I can sit here all day and I can tell you all the things you shouldn't do. But what was most useful for me was figuring out, right, what is it that I believe I'm struggling with? At the time, for me, it was my confidence. It was my self-image. And then from there, it was going, right, well, what can I control? What can I control? What can I fix? What can I do right now that is actionable and is going to help me improve that? For other people, it could be different. It could be, okay, maybe it is drinking that's an issue. Maybe it is playing loads and loads of video games and ignoring, the thing you should be doing. Not saying that video games are bad, but it depends on how you use these things. But the point being is that you probably know the areas where maybe you fall short, the areas where you could improve, the things that just aren't as good. So pick one thing, pick one thing to focus on and consume less content, because one of the worst things that I would do is every day I would watch at least 2 or 3 videos of people telling me all the things that I should be doing, all the things I'm doing wrong, all the things I need to improve on. And that made me super anxious. It made me super anxious. It made me just have so much more stress than I needed to have. So pick one thing that is meaningful to you to work on, to improve on, to get rid of, and start small and don't fall into the worry of everything else. Because if you're trying to focus on all sorts of different areas at once, there's only so much that you can comprehend. And you might see other people online who have the sort of lifestyle and the body and the money and the relationship that you want. But just know that all of that didn't fall into their lap in one go, right? They had to work on different things at different points. But let me know your thoughts on this video. I think what's most important, in my opinion, is picking one, like more so one thing to shift your focus on for others. Now, you don't have to ignore everything else, but I think for each person, there's going to be different shifts of focus for others. For me, my initial shift was focusing on my physique, where I would train lots, I would go to the gym lots, I would eat lots, and that was that. Now I'm in a position where I'm pretty happy with my physique. I'd like to bulk more, but I'm pretty happy. Now, although I do still go to the gym, my focus is more so on, I guess, making money. Being able to work on meaningful projects that are like meaningful to me, in the end result that I will be able to enjoy the stuff I do and also get paid for it. So let me know your thoughts, what thing that you are focusing on that you'd like to focus on, and I'll chat soon.